Bonjour à Paris. My name is not Johnny Halliday. No, my name is Dino V. And I shall stop the stupid French accent in un moment. But, merci beaucoup, comment ça va? Okay, that's enough. Au revoir. Now it's back to Dino V. Hello, thank you. Welcome for watching my channel. Thank you for the subscriptions, likes and comments. It means a lot to me, so please subscribe and comment and like. And if you don't like me, please unsubscribe. Yeah. Now, my friend and I are here in Paris, and last night we attended Paul McCartney's first night of his 8-day European concert tour, which is fabulous. So last night, my friend and I, who I'm going to introduce very quickly, is Andrew Cripps, who's here for me the journey. How are you today, Andrew?
Very good today. Woke up to rain. We had a great day yesterday, sightseeing, doing all the tourist stuff, and excited yesterday to see Paul McCartney. Saw him last night. Over to you, Dino.
Thanks. And that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed. No, okay. So last night we went to this concert on the Get Back tour, and this was at the Paris La Défense Arena. I must stop doing the French. Biggest indoor stadium arena in Europe, around 40,000 people. So got tickets online, travelling to Paris for 2 concerts and staying not too far from the arena. We went down to it, which was chaos outside, and getting in, we were high up, which even though we were at the back, it was actually a great view of everything. You saw the people and everything there, but getting in and going up the steps was horrendous. This poor old bloke next to us, he was suffering, wasn't he, Andy, trying to get to the top?
Was he? I helped you up to the top. We got there fine.
No, it wasn't on about you, on about the other guy.
Oh, the other guy, yeah, he was struggling. Yeah, he was seriously out of breath when we got to the top of the stairs. Yeah, that wasn't good. But the actual seating was the best seats, I think.
Yeah, we were kind of direct centre, right at the back. So we saw the fans arrive, and we got there quite late. And before the show, they had McCartney mixed with incredible tunes, remixed. If you've heard Twin Freaks, it seemed to be a whole catalogue of McCartney songs and Beatles, kind of remixed, different mixes. And you got, so for example, you got Twin Freaks coming up mixed with Morse Moose. But you heard one which I didn't recognise at first. What was the one you recognised?
It was a good mashup, and even with the Beatle years of music I've got in me, you're trying to keep up with where this stuff was from. But they actually played out loud, which was phenomenal for me. Was Linda McCartney's B-side to C-side, which is a single that she released in the mid-70s under her own name. Amazing to hear it in that environment.
Yeah, the sound was truly stunning. What I noticed, looking around, it was packed out. Many Parisians were there, other people from France, but we know that people had arrived from, the people next to us were from Germany. I know people there from Holland, Belgium, Spain, United Kingdom, America, Canada. I think there were people there from Australia. So many fans had flown in to this, and I know a few people there. I'm trying to think of names now. Bart and his wife. There was Joan Bareilles come over from the United States of America. Various people, including Steve Bradley, come over from the UK. There was Andre Holman, is he from Holland? And also, I always get this wrong, Joanna Kolowetz-Gunzimnia. I think she's from Sweden. I don't think I pronounced her name right. And if you know Jane Beatles, she came over. So sorry, Jane, if I get the country wrong. I think she came over from Serbia. So when people in the United Kingdom say, I'm not flying over to France to see him, there's people from around the world come to see him. And it's good that a lot of people don't come to see him from England or Europe, because it gives those people that live miles and miles away a chance to come and see him. We take our seats, the pre-music starts, and we're sitting there wondering what songs or tunes Paul's going to perform. So if you had to choose, say, 3 songs, Andy, what 3 songs, for example, was you hoping that Paul would perform?
Well, the one I mentioned before we'd actually got to the concert was jokingly In Spite of All the Danger. So historically, it was the starting point of the Beatles, those that know, and to hear that played live, again in that environment, all the way through and a bit added on to the end, for me, was one of the true highlights of seeing Paul McCartney play live at any time that I've seen him.
What's great about Andy and I is we've known each other for years, and we've been to many concerts to see McCartney. This is the first one that we've been to outside of the UK together to see, but we've been to many events over years. Run Devil Run, Liverpool concerts, probably TV shows, whatever, even Live Aid, though not together. But to me, in spite of all the danger, it doesn't excite me. I don't think it's a great tune. But like you said earlier, this is the beginning. It's some young lads writing a song in the basic form. The first one they've done. It's not going to be world shattering. And the performance, I actually really did enjoy. So I was actually impressed and happy with it. I was hoping Paul would perform coming up. He didn't, but he was in the warm-up music, if you want to call it that. So on to the concert. So it's a great build-up, and so many people had their phones with flashing the lights, not candles or lighters. And a few things I picked up on. One, hardly anyone had Beatles t-shirts. Now, the hardcore fans at the front, I know many of them had Beatles and McCartney t-shirts. I saw a couple. Around us at the back, there were none. Well, virtually no one had t-shirts. I saw one guy dressed as Sergeant Pepper down there in his beautiful suit. But as Beatle t-shirts and McCartney ones, didn't see many at all. So we're all sitting there excited. It seemed to take a long time for Paul to come on, and he come blasting on with the 1964 first single from A Hard Day's Night. What was the first single from A Hard Day's Night called, Andy?
Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah. And what do you think of it?
Superb. It just got us in the moment straight away. But the pre-start music was just worth sitting through listening to that. Because again, it spanned all of the years of his catalogue, Beatles, Wings and solo, and that was just worth it just for that, to sit and listen to that.
It really was. C'est magnifique. Just by the way, if I am sniffling, it's because we both got the sniffles. Silver rain is falling down today upon the clean ground of Paris, and so we both got the sniffles. My ears are still ringing from it last night, and like you just said, Can't Buy Me Love was a brilliant opener. He's been alternating Hard Day's Night, Can't Buy Me Love in South America to open with, and it's way better than opening with something like, and I've always gone about this, like he did in 89-90, Figure of Eight. So it's great to start with a Beatles belt. Then he goes into two classic Wings songs. So you've got Junior's Farm and Letting Go. And with Letting Go, you've got the horn section, and they were standing, if you're facing the stage, over to the left, and it's so great to see the horn section rather than just having Wicks, who's a brilliant musician, playing it on the keyboards. And it always reminds me of, Wings 76 when you got Howie Casey, Tony Dorsey, and I'm going to get it wrong, is it Steve Howard? Playing it. It just adds more to the visual of it. So Junior's Farm, and I've said this, I think Junior's Farm and Letting Go are really brave songs to play, because you were saying that the person next to us and other people, when Beatles songs are on, they're doing that. That's people kind of dancing to the Beatles. But when Wings songs come on like that, which weren't well known, it didn't have the same effect, did it?
I think, yeah. So the chap next to me was older. When the Beatles stuff was on, he was in the moment. But when the Wings stuff was being played and Paul McCartney solo, he was okay with, say, the Band on the Run stuff, but stuff around that he obviously wasn't so familiar with or hadn't heard it. But the standout moment in Junior's Farm, because to me Paul McCartney is always current, the line out of that is when he goes to the grocer's store and the prices were higher than the time before, which we're all living through this cost of living thing. How current is that?
See, Andy picks up on things I'd never have picked up on. This guy's a genius. He should be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom or of France. Now, actually, don't talk about these countries and politics. Junior's Farm always makes me think of Dan Ely. Hi, Dan Ely, over there across the pond. You may be aware Dan Ely was the only fan that was there when Wings were rehearsing with Jimmy McCulloch down at Junior's Farm. And he got photos and got to know Denny Lane and the drummer. What's the drummer called? Not Joe English. It was Jeff Britton. So hi, Dan Ely across the water. Go and check Dan Ely out on Facebook and everything. Listen to his story about when he met Paul into the Kids and Wings. So that's two classic Wings songs, and Paul's repertoire has not changed much in the last few years. In fact, in this concert he dropped Birthday and he dropped New. I do like New, but I didn't miss not having it. But what he did do, and I predicted this, I said Paul's going to be playing in France, I bet he does Michel, and many fans now go, no, you won't change the set list, Dino. So I keep going to that accent. But he did add Michel. Now, when Paul used to do Michel on the 2003 tour, I always called it my toilet break song. The song is brilliant, it's amazing, it just doesn't mean much to me, but it was nice to hear it last night. And it was great to have it for the French crowd, even though, as I say, a lot weren't from France. So how did you feel about Michel being performed, Monsieur Cripps?
I love listening to that live, and I think my favourite time that he did that when he was doing the unplugged stuff, when it was all acoustic. Those that remember all those years ago, but I loved listening to it. But walking around Paris yesterday as tourists in the sunshine, we were looking for Cafe on the Left Bank. For those that are into the words again, where's the clue? But that's what we were desperately trying to find.
We were, and we'd have loved it if they'd done Cafe on the Left Bank, and we did go and eat in a beautiful restaurant. Anyway, I'm diversing from that. So some of the highlights from it, we knew that Paul had been performing the new Beatles song. Well, I say new, it's the old one Now and Then. And I was worried that when he did it, I was going to blubber and cry my eyes out. And so he sits at his magic piano, you know, the one that's all painted psychedelic, and he sits there and goes, you know, it's true. I'm nearly going just singing out. I'm not going to do it. I've got to stay content with this. So Paul performed Now and Then with a band. I get teary-eyed when I think. I think, I've said this before, just say it's about Now and Then, that me, many people, we may have lost dear loved ones in the last few years, and it makes me think of my father, so it's very emotional to me, and I absolutely adore the song, and I'm sure that goes through many people's emotions. Not you thinking of my dad, but people that we've lost. How did you feel about Paul doing Now and Then, which we had never seen him perform before?
Yeah, I'd caught a clip of it a few weeks ago, and then decided not to go to YouTube again until I'd actually seen this concert live. For me, that video, when he went into the line, I Miss You for the first time, so he hit I Miss You, and the video behind him with George and John playing live. I think it was at Shea. They were laughing, playing guitars and having a real good time. But I've got to remember, there is mates behind him, and it just seemed, from In Spite of All the Danger, which was the first one, and then if you go all the way through the story up until Now and Then, and let's hope there's a lot more, but it just was the start and towards the end of the journey. But to me, that was a standout moment, seeing that for the first time in a live setting. Just breathtaking.
It was breathtaking, and like Andy said about the footage on it behind, to see that as well. So you got John, George and Ringo, obviously with Paul there, all four of them on stage. It was truly stunning, as was, which Paul's done for many years, the tributes to John for Here Today and George with Something. I didn't cry during Now and Then. I nearly said Here and Now then. Who's Here and Now? I don't know, that's a song. But I got emotional on Something. Paul got his ukulele out and explained, obviously, that George gave that to him. I don't know why Something gets me more emotional than anything. Maybe it's when you see George and how beautiful a person he was, and the lyrics and the song are so gorgeous, like most of these songs. A few things I want to pick up on. There was no big major surprises with the tracks, really. Again, the 80s was virtually, well, it wasn't touched apart from, I think, Here Today. Just have a think, well, I'm just talking about if there's anything else from the 80s. I don't think there was. So you didn't get Coming Up or anything off Waterfall, or off McCartney too. Nothing off Pipes of Priest, Broad Street, obviously not Pressed to Play, or Flowers in the Dirt. So it was just Here Today off Tug of War. The 70s was touched on quite a lot. One thing I did feel that noticed, it seemed like there was a lot more solo McCartney songs in this than what I remembered before. The newest song that we had was If You Come On To Me, I'll Come On To You. Not one of the greatest McCartney songs, but it was really good. That was another song we hadn't seen live because Paul hadn't performed that. I don't know if he performed it in Europe since Egypt Station, which is my favourite album. But a few years ago, I had tickets to see Paul in Lille and Paris, and it got cancelled because of COVID. So I hadn't seen anything. And in fact, it's the first time. Last time we saw Paul was 9.5 years ago, and I know that because my youngest daughter, Princess V, was in her mummy's tummy. And I remember at that gig, Paul did Temporary Secretary, which he's not doing anymore, and a couple more that he doesn't do now. Sing the Changes, which I adore, and that Hope for the Future. So they're not done. But there weren't any new songs that we hadn't not heard before, as in new compositions. And he didn't do The Mood Is Right, The Spirit's Up, We're Here Tonight, and That's Enough. Yeah, I was going to wear, I had this ready. I had this hat ready for Simply Having Buon Natale or Joyeux Noel. What is it in Spanish, Andy?
I've no idea.
You do know.
That's
you live
so
in Spain.
much better. Felix Never Dead, I think it is. But just going back to last night, with the content of the songs he was singing, this chap next to me's reaction, the Beatles stuff was obviously in and he was going with it, but seeing Paul McCartney from sort of the late 80s onwards in a live setting, you're always hoping he was going to sing Beatles stuff, which he does, but now it seems to me he's introducing sometimes a whole new audience that's in that venue to his back catalogue of more recent stuff that they quite clearly haven't heard. This bloke's reaction next to me. However, if he goes off and researches this stuff, he'll probably end up listening to McCartney's solo albums, the 2000s onwards, and find some of this magical stuff that's there that he hasn't heard, and it just opens a music box for him.
It's a really good point, and I'm not going to elaborate about this too much, but I mean it's quite important really, if it's true. So the people sitting next to me on the right, the woman, if the woman's watching this, I'm sorry, but she just sat there bored out of her head. I don't know what she was doing there. Maybe she thought it was Foo Fighters concert or Coldplay, but I don't think she was enjoying it. She spent a lot of time looking at her phone. She was cross-armed like that. She only seemed to really enjoy Helter Skelter, which my ears are still ringing. Helter Skelter, my God, the sound and noise on it was incredible. I don't know why she was there. To the left of Andy, there was an old German man, and he was old. Did he say he's in his 80s, I think?
80s, yeah.
80s, and his wife, they'd flown over from, I guess, Hamburg, I don't know. And he says he saw the Beatles, excuse me, at the Star Club in Hamburg. This is what he said. There wasn't any photos, but he remembers seeing them with Stuart Sutcliffe. And I was thinking this when I left. If it's true, I've never met anybody, this is met, not seen on TV, I've never met anyone that went to the Star Club and saw them. I'm going to sneeze in a minute, so sorry about that. So that was fascinating. Like you said, it's a really valid point that Beatles and solo Beatles, this person, let's just put it in a nutshell. Most people go in there, a basic, I don't know what basic means, Beatles fans. They want to hear the Beatles hits, the Beatles songs, and it's a great way, like you said, of Paul introducing his back catalogue, which you think it goes back to 1970 all the way through to now. So it's a great way of, oh, that's good. Yes, people knew Jet. They knew Band on the Run. They knew Let 'Em In. Everyone knew they were such big hits. Let 'Em In, I'm just saying this, it seemed to me like the drumming was sometimes out on Let 'Em In. I'm not a drummer, so I'm not having a go at Abe. It just, I don't know if the basic beat is Let 'Em In. Get the idea. It just seemed, I'm not a drummer, it just seemed the rhythm wasn't the same. Maybe they've just changed it. But we did get Maybe I'm Amazed, which is brilliant to have in. He didn't dedicate it to Linda. He didn't do My Love. He did a rocking version 1985, wasn't he? What was that like?
That was off the scale. Whenever he plays that, it just takes you to another place. It's and because obviously you're watching this video, so you're probably going to get all what we're saying. But listening to this music sort of kaleidoscope, to me, it's just magical because he can dip into 1974, then he goes to 63, then he goes to 203. It's just all over the years. And to me, it was just magical to see him enjoying doing what he's doing in that environment, off the scale. And this, personally, this was the best concert I've seen him play ever in all the years of going. So age aside, it was just a magical night. And if you've got tickets to go, you'll enjoy it. If you haven't got tickets, try and get tickets.
No, don't try and get tickets because we want to get better ones. But it's great what Andy said again. You got to think. Nobody in living history or that's passed away has got a better back catalogue than Paul McCartney. We're going to songs, when was In Spite of All the Danger written? 57, 58? Where are we now? 2024. Who's got that massive catalogue to go through? He also did My Valentine with a video with Johnny Depp and the woman's name I always forget. Natalie Portman, it's beautiful. What if it rained? We didn't care. You said that... I can't do the sign language, but I just think it's a beautiful track, and I do think it's one of Paul McCartney's best ballads. That was nice to hear. And he did, as I said, he didn't do new. I'm just trying to think of all the other tracks. Okay, so let's go on to Sgt. Pepper. He does Sgt. Pepper's. He does Getting Better, which I think is one of the best songs on Pepper. And then he did Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, which in my opinion, it looks visually stunning and fantastic. I want to say the lights and lasers sort of just mind-boggling, but it just doesn't work as a song for me live. What are your thoughts on Being for the Benefit? being for the benefit of Mr. Kite.
So yeah, to me, we've got the benefit of comparing this concert to previous concerts, so we can score it. However, like the lady won away from me last night, this is the first time she'd ever seen him live. So for her, because I spoke to her afterwards, she was buzzing, proper buzzing. She wasn't down scoring anything, but I just thought what he played was great. I enjoyed the evening, and I didn't look at too much technical stuff about a little bit out of time or a bit flat. Wasn't interested in that. It's him doing it live, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, and so did I.
It was astounding. I say it's 9.5 years since we saw him, so it's a very emotional experience. And I've said this before, no matter what you pay for the tickets, if Paul just sang one song, in fact, I was joining pre-music so much, that could have went on for hours. And I thought, if Paul doesn't come on, he doesn't come on. But he did. Many people's highlights are possibly two songs, and maybe they're two of my favourites as well. And they are Live and Let Die. If you haven't seen Live and Let Die live by Paul McCartney, you know the Wings song. You may have watched Rock Show and seen Paul perform it with Wings. Even though it's brilliant to see Wings on Rock Show performing it on DVD or YouTube or whatever, if you have not seen Paul McCartney perform Live and Let Die live, you've missed one of the greatest spectacles ever. I cannot describe the pyrotechnics, the explosions, the fireworks, the madness, the lasers and lights hitting you everywhere. It is insane. With a stunning video backdrop where he smashes, Big Ben and Houses of Parliament to smithereens. Live and Let Die never ceases to amaze me. What are your thoughts on Live and Let Die, Andy?
Live and Let Die. When I bought the single when it first came out, I played it a few times. I thought, not too sure about that. When I saw it live, I think it was 1990 in Liverpool on a warm southern evening on Flowers tour.
June 28th, the last one on the European tour.
There you go, Fact Finder. With all the fireworks, it just took it to another level. There are two songs that have done that for me over the years. Live and Let Die, that I now play quite regular, and Coming Up. When you see those two played live, especially Live and Let Die, with all the fireworks and all the bangs and crashes, it takes it to another level, and it just sells to me the quality of that song that was never there before. Amazing. If you've not seen it live, you're missing something.
Andy, I've not been having a go at you, but I've always said if I had to choose one song Paul performed live, it's not a Beatles song, it's Coming Up. That was the first song I bought, and I've got a Facebook group called Coming Up, the World of Paul McCartney Beatles. But Andy, I remember saying many years ago to you, I'm not having a go at you, I said, I hope he does Coming Up. He goes, no, it's not that great. I said, Andy, I hope he does it. And every time I say I want him to do Coming Up, and you think, oh, but now you're saying that it's better than what you thought it was.
Absolutely. So when you listen to the song at home, it always sounded it was a bit, I don't know, it wasn't exciting for me. But once you've seen it live, in a live environment, it takes it to a new level. So I enjoy now, when I'm at home playing it and it comes on, I enjoy the song for the song. And Live and Let Die, like I say, once you've seen it live with all the fireworks and everything that happens around it, it just takes it to a new level. And when you playing those songs at home now, in your mind, you're seeing it playing, you're watching it in a live situation. Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, it's right. It's totally right what you say, and I just want to say it's not that Paul McCartney is going to be watching this or any of the MPL people ever. Just put Coming Up in the set. Put Coming Up in the set and drop Let It Be or Hey Jude. No, I'm only joking. Put Coming Up in the set, please, please, please. You will see people dancing, rocking, funking. I said funking away, not the word that you thought. Dunking, wasn't it? As in Dunkin' Biscuits. Put Coming Up in it. And I love the point that you make there, Andy, about you hear a song, it's all right. Then when you see it live, it takes on a whole new meaning. I'm coming to this. The Beatles' first single released on Parlophone, is it 4949, October 1972. October 5th, 1962. Their first single released in the UK, Love Me Do, which I've never been a fan of. I know it's historic, but I've never liked the song much. And like I was saying to you earlier, the jump between Love Me Do and Please Please Me, as in quality of lyrics, sound, recording, is stunning. Last night when Paul performed Love Me Do, it was brilliant. It's better than the record. What are your thoughts on the Love Me Do track last night?
Love Me Do, it was quality. And when you're watching, obviously the person that co-wrote this, doing it live, you can just remember, well, you can't remember, but you just imagine the two of them writing that, probably in Paul's dad's front room, and then playing it to the others. So it's 4 very young mates just playing this stuff as youngsters, and we all know what it grew into, this monster of a band. But just from the origins, they were setting the foundations out. Like I said, in spite of all the danger, was just worth it just for that one song last night. But then Love Me Do, and then he's playing very current stuff that he's done, and we all know the history from Love Me Do onwards. Last night was lovely, beautiful.
It was, and you could see the fans' adulation, love, and how much they adore Paul and the band. And let's just say it's the band. What a band! He's been with them since 20 years, roughly off the top of my head. They're a brilliant band. He's been with them, it's the longest band he's ever had. Brilliant touring band. So good on you, Rusty, Abe, Wicks, and the guitarist. I always forget his name. I wish I'd have written it down. We're in Paris. I haven't got pens, papers, so I can't make any notes at all. But absolutely brilliant performance by the brand and the technicians, the lighting guys, like Paul says on despite repeated warnings of dangers up ahead. He says on that song, the best crew on the planet, and that's what. If you know the track, despite repeated warnings, Paul says, although he's working with the best crew on the planet, and he says that in the background of the song as well, because that's what Paul says to the crew, and they do an astounding job. Another thing about La Défense Arena, the sound was incredible. It really was perfection. Possibly the greatest indoor stadium concert I've been to of Paul McCartney's. I've been to O2, Earls Court, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, wherever. The sound was fantastic. And even though this is the biggest arena, it seemed like it was closer to the stage compared to if you're at the back at the O2. So I'm really, really pleased I went to this. And I was thinking of a few songs Paul didn't do that he used to do. Calico Skies, which is a beautiful song. That was a highlight for many people. As I said, he dropped Birthday. He doesn't do And I Love Her anymore. Things We Said Today. So he's got to, if Paul played, like you said, all night long, all his hits, we'd still be here for a few days. Another highlight, which my youngest daughter likes most, is, see if you can name this song by this dreadful interpretation. You ready for this? It's a bit of a bomb breaker. Down, 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 down. You've got to name it, Andy, not them. Have you got it?
You did? No, I haven't. I've missed that. You did tell me earlier.
Okay, it's from the Help album, not the film.
Oh, I've just seen a face. Yeah.
My youngest daughter, Princess V, calls that the happiest song ever. It's such an infectious little ditty. It's so simple, but it's so beautiful. Don't you think it sounds kind of country and western vibe when he performs it?
It's got that feel to it, but I just watching him play some of that stuff last night, I found it very emotional. And just, we're all human. I just think sometimes to myself, he's doing these concerts, that's what he does, but when he's actually in the moment with his guitar and the microphone, singing these words that we know well, what actually is going through his head? He must be, in my view, just reflecting on where he was at the time, the people around him at the time, and when he recorded this stuff, or when he first walked in to say to John, I've just done this, what do you think? And they build on it, but it's just, he's a human. Where is he thinking when he's playing this stuff to us live? It's just, I don't know, it's just off the scale, like I said.
If you haven't been to see Paul McCartney, you don't know what you're missing. And don't go and see him. Don't go and see him because there's still fans that want tickets. I want to give a shout out. I'm not going to say her name, but somebody I know that was there that flew in from America yesterday, she had a spare ticket for, I think it's for Block B at the front. And she contacted me and said, do you want this ticket? So I could have been at the front instead of at the back with Mr. Cripps here, but I said no. But it's such a beautiful, this woman is amazing, beautiful, kind offer from her, and I said no. So I sat at the back with Andy, but it was great anyway. But this lady gave the ticket to a female fan, I believe, for free. Even if she charged it, doesn't matter. But that is a beautiful, beautiful gesture. You know who you are, I'm not saying your name. Fans on the Run were there. Fans on the Run, they travel around the world. I think they're in South America, Mexico. They must all be millionaires or maybe they're on the streets busking, I don't know. But these people that travel around the world seeing Paul, what memories they are making for their life, like we made last night, like you mate that go and see him. People had banners, people had flags, and I liked it when they did, there was things saying, I love Paul, banners and everything. And on, I don't know if you noticed on Hey Jude, which for many people possibly is the highlight, that's the song that people most sing along to. And if you've seen Paul, he usually says the women, the men, and then all of you. He should start doing one. Now, all of you that got pets out here, like dogs, all of you that got cats, all the fish lovers, all the vegetarians. No, he doesn't do that. But Hey Jude really, really lifts the roof off, brings the house down. And when they're doing a na, 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 you know the bit, loads of people had cards holding up with the words na. That's N-A, very simple. So if you go to the concerts, get a card, get it white card, big letters na. So at the concerts, when you're doing na, 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 na. And what I noticed, I don't know if it's the fans on the run, it was quite cool. So it's go na, 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 and they're holding them up, and it says na, 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 Nancy. I thought that was quite clever. Did you see that?
That was good, yeah.
I like how they did that. Your verdict and opinion of when Paul performs Hey Jude, what does it mean to you as a song emotionally and when he's doing it live?
So for me, Hey Jude was really the key, as all of us have, of getting into the Beatles. It was the Hey Jude song really that got me in. And when I bought the single originally and listened to the A side and then the B side and read that the two songwriters had written the same song, I didn't know the history at that point of that. But then you buy other stuff and you think, how are they writing this stuff? It's amazing. But Hey Jude has always been the key for me. And when me and Dino first went to, I can't remember the dates now, whatever the first concert was when we started going round together, I said, I wonder if he's going to play Hey Jude. And when he did, I was just crying. And I can remember one of the shows we went to, I think it was at Wembley, when I was sat, I think we were one tier up, 10 or 15 seats along. I looked along and Julian Lennon was actually sat in the same line as me, and then Paul did a bit of an intro to it and said how the inspiration had come, started playing it. Of course, the place went absolutely nuts. But Julian Lennon was sat there, and if you know the history of it, to have him sat in that room with Paul doing it, again, is just historical, off the scale, and very emotional.
I actually got emotional listening to that. He has this effect on me. Okay, that was fake. Fake news there. No, Hey Jude is a very special song to many people. I don't think it's the greatest Beatles song, but it's my favourite. If I had to choose one Beatles song for Paul to form and the band, it would be Hey Jude. It's long. I never want it to stop. It's like an anthem. We're all doing na 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 bit. We're all singing it as one, and all the people with their lighters, it gets to you. It gets to you. It's all, you know, like when you're a football match and supporting teams, we're all there supporting one person, Paul and the band, all join as unison, forgetting whatever worries or troubles there might be out there in life. Hey Jude is a coming together song, giving hope. Don't worry, it'll be okay. Do that movement, everything's gonna be good. And I love the Beatles song so much. I can't explain what it means to me, how they were kind of coming apart and drifting apart at the seams, but that song, Song of Hope, is stunning, and that has been a mainstay. I don't know if Paul has never not played that since he came back on the Flowers in the Dirt World Tour, which I call it. And one thing I want to say about that song is, if you're a fan of Paul McCartney, use this as an example, just say you've never seen Paul McCartney and it's 1980. Paul had stopped touring Wings in 79, John got murdered in 98, Paul stopped doing live stuff totally, and I totally understand why he did. I never envisaged a time where Paul would be touring. I never ever imagined, I get fed up saying that word, imagined Paul ever performing Hey Jude live. So when he did it, like you said, I was in tears thinking, that's one of the Beatles on flaming stage singing Hey Jude, my favourite ever song. And even now, it's so special and beautiful. There's something heartfelt about that song. And it just gets to people. It really gets to people. Okay, we're going to wrap up in a minute, but have you got any other thoughts on it that I've missed, Andy? We haven't covered all the songs. We're just trying to say how flaming spectacular it was. And let's just touch on his age while you're thinking. 82 years old. How does he do it? You know, think about this. We went to the arena and we had to walk up tons of stairs. It seemed like 2 hours to get upstairs. And we got to the top. It's like, Paul McCartney's 82 years old. He plays for around 3 hours. He's done the sound check before. He's standing on stage. He's playing a mandolin. He's playing the guitar. He's playing acoustic guitar, electric. He's playing bass. He's playing piano. He's standing up. He's singing. He's dancing. Well, dance a little bit. Dance tonight was good as well. How on earth does this man do it at 82 years old when I'm in my 20s, Andy's in his 70s-ish, and we struggled at the top of the stairs? And we didn't have to do a concert. Okay, he's not that old and I'm not that young. But my point being, keep rocking, Paul. Keep doing it, because you saw last night what you mean, and what you mean all around the world to so many people. And I'm not just doing this video to say, can you get me into a sound check free, or can I meet you, or can we get to the front? I wouldn't be like that. That's too cynical and creepy. Please. So your wrap-up thoughts on the concert. And we're going again tonight.
Just to rewind really before we wrap up on Hey Jude. If you've had the ability over the years to listen to any of the bootleg stuff of
bootlegs,
just imagine Paul McCartney going in and saying, "Hey boys, I've written this. What do you think?" How that started and how it ended up, and everyone takes their own takeaway from songs. And I've read that John Lennon thought Paul had written it about him and Yoko, and also about Paul, again, I've read this, I don't know if this is true or not, where Paul had played it to John and said, that line about off your shoulder, I'm going to take that out because it's a bit naff. John said it's the best line in there. So everybody's got their own take on this stuff. So when the single got released in 68, if you read the old reviews, everyone's saying, yeah, what a great song, it'd be number one, and it was for a long time. But from a live situation, it's now turned in from a pop song, a good pop song at that, to this anthem. It's an absolute anthem when you're in there, and the whole arena with all the phones lit up, a carpet of lights, and everyone singing with him at the end. It's just a magical experience.
We sound like two preachers, and I'm not on about religion. I'm not knocking religion. I'm not saying we're better now. I'm not putting down as God as a thing. You know what I mean? We sound like two preachers. Oh, holy Paul McCartney. Not at all. I don't like every song he's done, and there's various things I don't like that. But the point being, probably 99.9% of what he's done is fantastic and brilliant. And you've got the records, the CDs, the streaming, the cassette, whatever it is. But seeing this man live is almost like an out-of-body experience. I don't know I'm not going to say what gives me better delight than seeing Paul McCartney in concert. If you've been, you know what it's like. If it can make you tremble, it can make your hair stand up on the back of your neck or up your nose, if you've got a nose like mine. It's a spiritual experience that lifts you and lightens you. Forget about the world. For a few hours, you are lost in that, seeing a legend on stage who's alive and kicking, and it just makes you feel amazing, along with all the thousands of fans there. So thank you for playing again. Thank you for doing these songs, for writing these brilliant songs, and all you fans that go, you're witnessing that the greatest singer, songwriter, performer that ever was. Did I sell that well then?
You did. I've said in the past when we're talking about this stuff, when you read critical comments about Paul McCartney's latest record or his performance, I say you have to remember we are so lucky we're living through the years that he's on this planet, because to me it's Shakespeare. How many people today would pay a lot of money to go and see or listen to or see one of his plays, Shakespeare, but we're living through Paul McCartney's years, and you just got to jump on and enjoy it.
Brilliant. We're going to wrap up. Well said, Andy. To all of those that travel from around the world to see him in Paris, he's playing again tonight, and he's got Madrid, London and Manchester concerts coming up. So we'll see you here, there and everywhere. Go and see the main man. So this is, isn't that a great t-shirt?
And backwards.
Now, to prove this, Andy, can you stand? Can you do a handstand? Because if this Paul McCartney backwards off Chaos and Creation, if you do it the other way round,
I would gladly do that. But I've hurt my finger. Perhaps next time.
That's all I did. The flaming video. I wanted to see you standing.
I'll do it next time.
Right. Go and see the concerts. You don't get Chaos and Creation. You just get a flaming genius singing some of the best songs ever with all his adoring public. This is Dino V and
Andrew Cripps
saying goodbye, au revoir, ciao, and we'll see you soon. Oh, please like, subscribe and comment. If you don't like it, get off the channel and subscribe. But please like and comment. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Bye. Au revoir. À Paris.